Thank you. Media and communication.
That's what we put under orchestration,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
to propagate it. Yes, sir.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to talk about what you put in place. And my one is just for us to carry out a kind of a review. Where I think we need to talk about the mission statement and the vision statement, at which where Copan is built on, because that is driven force at which all of us are going to work. Because at the end of the day, when you are trying to convince somebody, the first thing is, what's the mission? Tell me, what are you into? What do you stand for? And of course, I heard you talking something else, but it's just for us alone. But if we could have things in place, whereby anybody we are talking to or we are discussing with them, this is what we stand for, this is our vision, this is our mission, this is our long time, this is our short time, this is our mid-time plan. And we are very serious about it. I think we need to put that also in place. Then, of course, I haven't gone through the slide. What we have there is more or less the action part. We need to talk about the issues, because all the things we've discussed so far are all issues that occur every time we notice the society. But I think we need to tie this one into all the action points listed in the slide. For instance, when we want to talk about agriculture, what are the issues? What is something that is very, very strong, that is affecting everybody? And now, what are the actions that we need to take? So if we have this, it may run into pages. But I mean, just like I like one of the statements you said, that we should just start. Irrespective of what, we should just start. So once we are able to have all these issues highlighted and the actions, when we go out to talk to people, I mean, these are the things we will tell them. Perhaps some people will give us more idea. Perhaps some will tell us, okay, these are the better ideas we have for we to drive this point. So these are the things that are highlighted. Then I want us to also add in the oil and gas mining too, because solid minerals too is one of the very in the nearest future now. It's going to fetch us a lot of money. We are using so much money to mine it, illegal mining in Nigeria. So we need to add that too. Thank you very much.
Which of these action committees, we want to break up into subcommittees. So we will have a subcommittee on agriculture and rural development, and they would deal extensively with the issues. You know, so each subcommittee will then look at what are the issues and come up with, you know, guidelines for addressing those issues. That's your lessons. Yes, sir. Madam.
I think we'll need to develop some kind of a standard by which we will be judged. What the people can also hold us to, some kind of basis on which they will see whether we're actually doing what we said we're going to do. There was something you said about doing peer reviews and comparing governors' performances and all that. I know a gentleman who did that a few years ago and became a billionaire out of it. He got billions and billions from all the governors. From Calderon gave him $500 million, gave him some money, and then that governor will win next time. So if you are going to tell the governors now that you want to do anything like that, easily they will just laugh and say, yeah, that's what this fellow did last time. We are not buying into it. But if we have a basis for them to really know that, okay, this is different, for which they can measure on, I think that will be very helpful. And secondly, I think in terms of the committees, it would be useful for us to have a legal one, put together a legal team or some stuff like that.
Yes.
So delighted to be here, and the Bible says that we should not despise the days of small beginning. And I believe that this vision is shared by hundreds of Nigerians, if not thousands. I'm one of them. But I just want to make a comment. I haven't listened to the intro. What I have observed, and maybe others may have a different opinion, is that people in authority in Nigeria, maybe political leaders, people in government, they don't listen. I mean, they have ears, but they don't hear. many of the things that you were likely to tell them, they have heard, they have been told over and over. So there is a fundamental problem, which I want to agree with you, has developed over the years. Their hearts are hardened. They know the truth, but they will choose to do the opposite. Now, where I'm going is this. We have the truth. We have answers. We believe we do have answers. And we have a destination for our nation. And that is in our own interest and in the interest of our children and our children's children. What will make these people we want to talk to listen to us? Let's look at things that will stand COPAD out and members of COPAD, that when you speak, they will listen. Thank you very much, every one of you.
My comment will be, say, a furtherance to his comment. I just had a look again. I'm sure Fela will not agree on this. What does COPAD mean? What is this? It's an acronym. It says Coalition for Public Accountability and Development. Pardon my English, I'm from the village. Now, if the issue we were to discuss, from my understanding when Bob was trying to get these things across, is to set up committees and subcommittees to do some of the things we mentioned earlier, I'll probably begin to save some money from my little stipends that God gives me every month and send to Bob and say, look, this is my contribution to what you are doing. I may not come here in person, and that this is me as an individual. But looking at what this means, I thought for once we're going to stir up the hearts and the minds. What you have been called to do. When you are swearing to an oath of office, you follow to the letter what is in that oath of office. I thought that's what we're here for. Because if we're here to begin to set up all these committees, they are lovely. I mean, these are laudable things to do. I will be a part of those things. But I'm not sure that's exactly what COPAD wants to stand with. This will eventually happen by reason of the actions we begin. I mean, many more people will join us. I like what you say, that you see this becoming a massive movement. Someone said a pressure group, yeah? But we want to be able to tell some people who are in governance, enough of nobody cares about what I do. Some people actually care. I mean, you say, I have 3 boys as well. I mean, incidentally, in my case, it's not like yours. They are abroad. I'm trying to get them to come back home. They came here for Christmas. They're not impressed. I did everything. Pastor, I had to go borrow money and put my house, teach it up a bit to make it look somehow. But that's not the end of Nigeria. What I put in my house is not the end of Nigeria. They want to go to the streets. They want to visit their cousins. And they see people selling on the streets. They see bad roads. They see policemen accepting money on the road. And they're asking me, Daddy, what is that for? And I can explain to them. Now, this is what I think COPAD should start to look out for. Praise. Oh, sorry.
Committees and suggestions be made. Like I said, before we have a final template, we're going to mold it, take suggestions, take contributions, and then we have a proper vehicle. You see, yes, we want to enforce and entrench accountability, but there must be a vehicle. You say, oh, they are accountable. There must be a vehicle. You must build that vehicle. That is what we're trying to do. If we don't build the vehicle, nobody is going to, you don't even have any voice. So we're exactly doing the same thing, but let us put the vehicle together. Those are suggestions. They're not cast in concrete. Let us modify them. If you don't think the committees will work, then make a suggestion. Let us develop, build a vehicle, and then once we have the vehicle, then we can move forward.
I think to answer your question, the committee, I believe, on electoral reform and judiciary will actually be the pressure group of the pressure group. You understand? We are a pressure group as a body, but the committee that will actually be pressuring all our ideals and putting it forward to the National Assembly and the different government bodies would be that one, the electoral reform and judiciary. So I think that takes care of your fears. Thank you.
I agree totally with what he has said. I have written down all of what on the template. I think the problem with the COPA is the development part of it. I think a lot of these committees are for the development part, is for both accountability and development. Maybe if it was only for accountability, I think then to be a lot more focused like you're suggesting. I looked at it and I said that from what I have written down, about 3/4 of the whole thing is the development part. But I think the real problem we should focus on is the accountability part actually, because I think that is the real problem that Nigeria has got. I think it's making people stand up and listen, trying to overturn the culture of impunity. I think that's the most important part. Now, it's very sensible what a lot of people have suggested about trying to help with a lot of all these areas, help with education, help with health, help with all of that. But I think we will be a lot more effective if all we're interested in is making the people who are responsible for these things perform, not us worrying about doing it ourselves. If we will make them perform, if our job is, look, you are the one responsible for oil and gas, you need to perform, you need to do this and do this and do this, not us trying to do things within oil and gas. I hope you get the point I'm making.
There's need for integration, and there's need for, if you have a vision, you have dreams, and because what is happening here today is something the Lord dropped in my spirit some years ago when I was in secondary school. And Babangida was the president then, and one day I was just felt like, I wish I could become president and change this nation, but today I'm a pastor. And I want to believe that the issue of accountability, and I was in Ghana, somebody said, when the leader are not accountable, the populace and citizens, they will not be responsible. So I want to believe that what is happening here today has been orchestrated by God. And I commend it because you made a statement, sir, that if we can volunteer ourselves. I remember in a place in Abuja, if you've been to Abuja several times, you see that all the roads in Abuja, we have walkway. And at a roundabout in Abuja called Beggar Roundabout, you see people, they will not follow the walkway, they have to walk through the garden. So one day I got to the Beggar Roundabout and I stood by that garden and said, nobody will pass through the garden today, because it's valid. And I stood there for 1 hour 45 minutes. So one of the Beggar security called me and took me to the office of the Beggar project director. Unfortunately, was not on seat, so I met the assistant project director, and the man said, I would like to introduce to the Abuja Environmental Protective Board. I want to say this. The churches in Nigeria, though it is not a religious organization, I discovered that some years ago, the the missionary came with free education. The Muslim scholar, they were going for what they call the Islamic education. But they brought Western education. They discovered that we need this. They left the Islamic education and came for the Western education. And the trend then was, education was free. But in our day today, we see churches building schools, and the price of those schools are skyrocketing. And competition here and there, because they are commercially rated. You want to make money? And Job said, I'm eyes to the blind. I'm led to the lame. He said, the course I know, I search out. I want to believe that church is an institution that could be an agent of change. We should carry them along. And what I want to say is this: everything remains in a state of rest until relevant forces are applied. I want this COPA to become a relevant force. A relevant force. When you mention COPA, somebody will know that COPA stands for something, for change. That is my point.
In response to what this gentleman said about focusing on accountability, I think accountability and development go hand in hand. Because if you're talking to somebody to listen, when you don't have ideas or an alternative, and you're asking him to listen, when he listens, after them, what follows? A lot of people have money, but they don't know what to spend it on. And we are the ones who live day to day in the grind, in the cities. The political populists, they're cut off from the realities on the ground. We're the ones who send children to school. We're moms who do the school run. We're the ones who go to the clinics and see what is actually there. And then we can present them with ideas on the way to make things better. So I think accountability and development are two things that go hand in hand. Because when there's accountability, then there will be ideas for development that will be listened to. Thank you.
With our focus, I go back to what I was saying, that that's the committee you belong to, electoral reform and judiciary. Because that's where your passion is. Your passion is to create, to interface with those people and make them accountable. So that's your committee. Just get like minds with you and push that committee.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Fernando Rotoye. As all the contributors have been or were contributing, I started to think to myself, yes, so ultimately, if there's a one thing that COPAC would be, what would it be? One thing I wrote here was a voice. About it, if I know that a lot of people are very agitated about how things are being done, and they want to say their mind. I think it's one of the things that we try to do in this nation. I'll tell you how I feel, whether you like it or not, at least what you saw in me. I've said my own. Whereas in reality, I have said my own has never led to a change in the person that you said it to. Neither did it lead to an improvement in the relationship you have with that person. So you said your own and you said your own. And you feel better, but nothing changes. So what I thought of was that COPAC must, no doubt, be a voice for public accountability, as well as a voice for development. And the way I drew it out here was almost like a structure. And I shared COPAC, on one hand, public accountability, and the way that things are going to run. And there are people who are passionate about that. And on the other hand, there are people who are passionate about doing things that will make it happen. And once we create a platform that accommodates that, then the people who have or want to use their voice to create that pressure, and that will become the environment that the people who want to develop can use. Okay, then that happens. So, I just wanted to say, sir, I don't think that we need to be one or the other. I think we need to be both. But in being both, the first thing that we need to also remember is that public is not another word for government. So public accountability has got to go beyond just looking at people in government and pointing fingers and, what about people in organizations? What about people in schools? What about people in, can we begin to get us to become more accountable for our use of time? Can we begin to get us to become more accountable for the way that we do things? Can we begin to yes, it is not government officials that out of if there are 1,000 infractions on the road infractions that, it's, you probably find one or two guys that have sirens that broke the law. What about the people that break red lights and go past the red lights? How do we make them accountable for that? How do we create an environment where it's not just us pointing against them, but all of us just beginning to, and that's one of the things that I was hoping that we would be able to do, to say public is more than government.
The voice for development is just a suggestion anyway. In relation to what Oga said earlier on, because I don't want us to throw what he said into dustbin. He was talking about these people, the people in government don't listen and all that. And I'm just a suggestion that is it possible for us to invite people who have served before, retired, and ask them what could you have done better, assuming you are there? Because I've been able to talk to one or two of ex-governors, ex-commissioners, and I said, Oga, assuming you are given this position again, tell me what you could have done better. And he was saying a lot of things, a lot. And I said, wow, this is nice. So what are you doing presently? He said, well, these boys, they said, well, during your own time, you screwed up. So this is my own time. So I think if we are really into, we are the voice for development, we should look into that too. If possible, we just call 1 or 2 of them or 3 of them and say, okay, tell us more, so that people can learn. It's a lesson learned from the mistake they have made, and for people to know too that, well, one day you will be like this man speaking now. And of course, you have to be careful of what you are doing now. That awareness, if that awareness, because anyhow we like it, this organization COPAD is going to explode. And I'm telling you to go beyond what we, all of us, will imagine. Because a lot of people are agitating and they want change. I mean, I was just in the office, somebody just called me and said, hey, you have to be here. I just flew to Okala and I'm here. So that's to tell you how, passionate I am about Nigeria. So a lot of us like that. So that is what I just want us to look into. Thank you.
This is from STV. I've been in the print. I was in the print media for years, and I was handling agriculture. So I had to pick interest in that agriculture and rural development. Now, I got interested in this event not just because, okay, I was an agriculturist by training, but because I saw development in that, the whole concept. Now, it was a case study in Kaduna. The Kaduna State government procured bags of fertilizer for distribution to rural farmers. Now, I cornered 5 of them during the distribution, and they said people who are gaining these fertilizers are people who don't need them. There are people who can afford them in millions of trailers. Now, they were complaining that they couldn't even get, not just because people don't know them, but because they don't have people to stand for them to get these bags. A certain farmer, a retired naval officer, got almost half a trailer, one person. Now we're talking about development. These are people who are enterprising, these are people who have the passion, these are people who have the drive to develop their constituency in their own little way. Now they were denied of that only input that will make them bring out what they need to help themselves and to help their community. That was a basic problem. Secondly, a lot of farms, just go down to the north where I grew up, you have a lot of farms that in the past yielded bounties. Now somebody will just fence them. This land belongs to one retired brigadier general. Don't touch. The land can remain there for 20, 30 years. I've known one like that. I played football there. For years, that land was like that. And this land is fertile. This is intimidation in the highest order. Now what is COPAD going to do towards getting to the grassroots and bringing out these people, the worst affected, so I can hear them as it is, undiluted, raw, so that I can take the action from there. Thank you.
People venting their anger. You see, we don't want to go that direction. You know, there have been so many conferences. If we go home at the end of the day and we have succeeded in venting our anger, we have failed. Let us try to come up with constructive, action-oriented suggestions. If it's only one thing, all this community can do just one, we have succeeded. So if we believe that these are too many, let's focus on one, then let's do that. Please don't let us, you see, there are so many avenues that the archives are filled with suggestions, brilliant suggestions. But let us pick just one thing. We can then have another day and have another conference and take the second one. But please, let us take something out of here today. Otherwise, we would just have wasted our time. So please, let us focus on action-oriented suggestions. What can we do that tomorrow we know that, okay, this is something that we said yesterday and this is what I'm doing about it. We're working in the progressive realization of an ideal. Let us take little steps to help to achieve something. Nobody needs to be told that things are not the way they should be. We all know that. But let us begin to do something about it. That is what I think we should be able to do. Please, let us focus on that. What can we do? If it's a particular area, let me say, okay, I have a suggestion in a particular area. Let us focus on agriculture. Like my brother, can we focus on, or can you head the subcommittee in that area? Let's begin to get ideas and begin to implement something.
Just structure, okay? Which means, you know, we've looked at the groups and the committees, which ones will people like to go into, and you can sign up for more than one one committee, and then try and see how we can now begin to get committee heads, even if they're interim leaders, just to say, okay, well, just somebody who's going to take that. A lot of the discussions that we seem to be having are actually the committee discussions. Okay, so for instance, if you can't start, if everything you said in agriculture, if you were speaking to people of like minds, then agriculture will be able to take a decision and say this is exactly what we're going to do, whether we will start here or start there, but it will be agricultural team. So I think that from now, to make this a lot more effective, one of the things we need to do, but one definite thing will be also to look at administration of COPAD as a committee. Okay, because you cannot just say, so there's some people that will be interested in how COPAD itself is run, and all of that. So in all of these wonderful committees, we have to then put also COPAD administration, okay? So that some people would say, listen, I would like to be a part of it, to know, okay, when is the next meeting, how our agenda is going to be structured, how do we turn decisions into action, things like that. So, but I think that really we should just quickly move into that point where people can say, this is what I would love to be a part of.
Yes, guys, we embrace more of advocacy as a centralization of the public. For not too many people even know what policies are in place, what resources are meant to be used in development of such an area. So advocacy as a centralization of the public should be, paramount too.
Because that's what I'm saying. Education. Until we get down to that place, I'm not confessing negatively. Nothing may be done. Education, you need to know. You need to know what is wrong in our educational sector. So please, the rebranding of Nigeria can only be efficient and effective until we get to the educational sector. And all these things will not. My brother was talking the other time that we don't need to point at using leaders with the people in government. That's the truth. If you go on the streets, we the individuals, we do worse than what those guys do there. So until we rebrand the minds of people on the streets, nothing may come to pass. So please, I want us to look critically to that sector. God bless you.
What we are passionate about is obvious the committees that you belong to. So let's just go to those subcommittees right away, and then we can regroup. Do you understand? So there's no point in all people talking about what we are very passionate about. Like my brother was talking about education and churches charging so much money. And I was saying to myself that the schools that the churches build, they have to pay the teachers. So we see in those days when the missionaries put a lot of money. Now there's good Christians, I'm sorry to say, we're selfish, it's not one so just now. We don't put down money. So I knew really that I belong to the education committee. So let us now think now immediately to go to the subcommittees. Then we can have a more effective meeting.
Yes, definitely. Right now, I have a simple way of just going through this. I guess everybody knows what they would want to be a part of. If it were possible, let's just go through the committees again so that you can note in your mind. Then we will announce those committees. Let's put our hands up, and then we will try and gather into small groups. Write your names and your email. I guess your email addresses and all of that is outside. You don't have to do that again. But just write your names for those subcommittees. And for people who will want more than one, we will just also be able to identify, after you've written your name for one, you can move that. Because if we pass out a sheet around, that will mean 12 sheets coming by you. I don't know whether that's going to work effectively. COPAD administration for those people who are more into how the mechanism of organizations, okay? So there will be COPAD administration, there will be agriculture and rural development, there will be electricity and energy, there will be oil and gas, there will be electoral reform and judiciary, there will be transportation, aviation, marine, road and rail, there will be education and health, there is orchestration and advocacy. So what I would like to do very quickly is to just ask by show of hands, is there anybody who is interested in COPAD administration? Okay, so can you please just come together here? We're going to give you a sheet of paper right now.
Suggestions as to how COPAD
will coordinate, how suggestions are going to be, for instance, things that have to do with next meeting.
Secretarial.
Secretarial. I think that's what it is. So just secretarial functions of co-party.
Biggest function they have, the biggest function.